dee doo 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 doo. OR? Doo 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 doo. OR? Lisa?
Yes?
You've got OR on your chest,
I
haven't
have.
you? What did your t-shirt say?
It says Pigbin Josh says...
You got to pull it up.
OR. And then there's a lot of... somebody actually looked up to see what he says.
And it says Furge Thangler... What is it?
I don't know, you wrote it.
Furge Thanglerin Mutt Witchlers Rock Throbbling this time of day. Urbin gone put thickery blarm dasted zones about. Gorgadanum, didn't have a frog and law on 'em, shouldn't 'em, eh? Eh? Aren't I? Which is apparently what it says in the script.
Yes.
Or at least according to the discontinuity guide.
Yes.
I've never actually got around to checking.
So, to the person who admired my t-shirt and said they wanted it, make one yourself.
Because we made this.
That's what we did.
Yes.
So just a picture of a bicycle and Pigbin Josh says.
And I made sure to try and get the font as close to the Pertwee
as possible.
Title sequence font as well. Anyway, season 8.
Yes.
Season 8.
Season 8.
With
Twitch has shown the first 3 stories of season 8 last night.
Terror of the Autons. And The Mind of Evil.
We couldn't find the DVD.
That's the book. And The Claws of Axos. Special edition.
Ooh.
So, what do you make of these then?
What do I make of these?
Terror of the Autons first.
Terror of the Autons. It's certainly very different from the previous season.
Well, this is such a change of style, isn't it?
Yes. You don't even start with the Doctor. You start with a circus, and then a horse box appears, and somebody steps out of the horse box, and it's the Master.
Oh no,
you don't do that.
You don't do that, does he? But it's interesting that it's a 4-part Auton story by Robert Holmes.
Yes.
But it is so different in production style as well, because in places Spearhead from Space almost like documentary, isn't it? Because when you've got all the stuff with the news reporters and things like that, they actually use one of the news report cameras to film it. Whereas this is almost like a cartoon in places.
It's very colourful.
All the use of sort of CSO.
Yes.
And there was a fanzine many hundreds of years ago, 500 Eyes, which argued that the whole style of Terror of the Autons is meant to be artificial.
Okay, what, like the daffodils?
Like the daffodils and the Autons are themselves artificial, but so too is all
and the
use.
Doll.
Also, so too is the use of CSO. I don't know whether Barry Letts would have agreed with that,
probably
but
not.
It's an interesting way of looking at it.
And the most notable thing about Terror of the Autons is that even though it's bright and colourful, it's still quite nasty in places.
But then,
because they got into an awful lot of trouble when this was shown originally, didn't they?
Well, isn't there the story that when Bob Holmes was up for replacing Terence Dix at the interview, now would it have been what's the guy's name? Ronnie Marsh, possibly head of serials, and he said and he sort of said to Bob Holmes, there's a style of show of sort of theme we should avoid in Doctor Who, because we had some clot who once wrote this one about dolls coming to life and strangling people, and kids had nightmares and wet the bed, and we don't want people like that writing for the show.
Did you ever admit it?
And I don't know, he sort of agreed, and and then of course went on to write stuff just as bad or just as good in my opinion.
Yes, people's chests exploding.
I was a kid watching sort of when Bob Holmes was script editor, and I loved all that. So but yes, you can understand sort of things like the police being a bit concerned that
kids wouldn't. I think the idea was that if a child got lost, and she or he got lost, and they saw a policeman, they wouldn't go to the policeman for help because they would think he was an Auton.
In case his face would fall off or something.
So, and I mean, the thing about the troll doll, apparently children were scared of taking their teddies to bed, but I don't see how, because it's an incredibly ugly piece of work. It's not like a teddy bear. It's not. They purposely made it as ugly as possible. It's not soft and cuddly. It's ugly and horrible and not for a bit there.
But yeah, it's almost like it's a toy for adults as a sort of.
It is a toy for. She says that.
Yeah.
She said it's a toy for adults.
A novelty.
A novelty. Well, people did have trolls. People had trolls when I was.
They were troll dolls, weren't they? But they were hairy.
Yes, and they were sort of cute, ugly.
And you could like brush their hair.
You could brush their hair and put stuff in.
Because I think some troll dolls feature in some episodes of Sutton Park.
Oh right, okay.
I think there's a sketch that Paul put up recently where Elaine's sort of on blind date.
Right.
And then there's 3 entrants, and one of them's Nick, and one of them's Keith, and one of them's a troll doll.
Okay.
And in the end, she goes out with the troll doll.
Okay, of course. Why? Who else would you pick?
I think so. Yes, but yeah, I mean, it's a story that as with all of this, I came to first via the book.
Yes.
Yes, and as we've said with Warren, what's in the book and the illustrations in the book
not representative
don't necessarily tie up with what's on screen.
I was thinking of the cover art more than anything else.
Yeah.
You've got this sort of octopus thing with one eye.
Yeah, and as we say, it does seem to be somebody just wearing a silver marigold sort of glove doing like that.
Yeah.
But Yates is scared by it. He stands in front of it and looks suitably horrific. One thing people don't
horrified, not horrific.
Whatever. One thing people don't pick up on is when the Master escapes in the bus, the way it's shot means that he runs over Michael Wisher.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no actual bump.
Because they don't get him out of the way because his body's there, and then they sort of get out of the way. And,
and the Master drives straight over
him. He drives straight over him.
Yes.
It's not picked up on.
No.
But, just as well, really.
That's probably because I don't think you need to heighten the nastiness even further.
Oh no, but
so.
Yeah, but I do. It's a good, confident start to the season, and of course you've got Delgado making an instant impression.
Yes, and the lovely Katie Manning.
And Katie, of course,
as Jo Grant, who is instantly adorable. She's your big sister.
Yeah, I did like her thing on the Twitch pre-show stuff where she said about Doctor Who inspiring people to be creative, and I thought that was a lovely thing to say. Yes. So thank you for that, Katie. But what have we got next? The Mind of Evil. There we are. There's Mr. Delgado.
Looking sinister in front of the Thunderbolt missile.
Thunderbolts, I call them.
Yeah. Again, an incredibly adult story.
Almost a hangover from season 7
it would fit very
respects,
confidently in season 7. You just take the Master out and put a generic villain. Okay,
well,
Professor Starman.
the Master in this story is a little different, I think. And I think it's the thing that, Don Horton probably wrote the story and then...
Had to put the Master in.
And then whatever the villain was becomes the Master.
Yes.
So, he's driving around in the back of his car...
with his chauffeur.
With his chauffeur smoking his cigar.
Yes.
Which he doesn't really tend to do.
No, this is the only story he really does though.
That's the real sort of James Bondy villain.
It is quite a James Bondy villain thing. And obviously, also, how long has he been on the Earth to have set these things going?
A very good question.
Because it says Emil Keller first visited a year before.
All we can assume, if that is literally true, there is a huge gap between Terror of the Autons Episode 4 and Mind of Evil Episode 1.
Or it even predates Terror of the Autons.
Well, I don't see how it can.
Because there's also the Time Monster, where we've been doing stuff for quite some time.
But
there's big gaps. I mean, you're actually looking at... Because let's not get into the unit dating.
No, thank you.
But you're looking at starting, I'm assuming in the early 70s for season 7. Maybe sort of 71 and 72 for season 8.
Well,
and then do you take a big leap to the middle of the 70s?
In Silurians, the taxi fare is in shillings.
It's in shillings, so it's pre-decimalisation still. So.
But I really don't know. But yeah, Mind of Evil again. It's so weird to see it in colour now.
So used to seeing it in black and white.
Yeah.
And as we said the other day, thanks to the wonderful Stuart Humphreys.
Yes.
And the. And Peter Crocker.
And indeed.
And everybody involved in the chroma dots.
Yes.
Yes.
But fantastic
Because I saw somebody,
process.
Stuart Humphrey said about, Twitter showing my recolorised episode 1 tonight, and somebody said, "Oh, I wish you'd been able to do the rest," but it's just not feasible. It would cost too much.
He'd still be doing it,
and he'd still be doing it. It took him ages, and it nearly sent him cross-eyed.
Yeah, I mean the attention to detail needed, just to get one episode done. The idea of doing the whole story that way.
I think you would know. That wouldn't be fair to even ask somebody to do
unless
that.
you had a team of like a dozen people doing it.
Yeah.
It's the only way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interestingly sort of different story. I say it's not quite season 8.
No.
Yeah.
No. And I do love the stuff in the prison.
Yeah.
I like the bit where the Brigadier storms the prison.
Oh, do you like his Cockney accent?
Well, yeah, it's partly his Cockney accent, and he's so confident about what he's doing. His flat cap, and the Doctor's so ungrateful. Nice, you can't ever just say thank you.
Yeah,
he's got to be.
He's grumpy.
Salty.
Salty,
as the chat room said the other day. Yeah. Doctor is salty.
Right.
So.
Claws of Axos.
Yes.
The Claws of Axos with the fantastic Pigbin Josh.
Strangely, he's not on the front cover.
Is he not? Oh,
No.
what an omission. Oh, he's not, is he?
No.
Oh, well, that's a shame. He should have. Is he on the back?
No.
What? No Pigbin Josh at all?
And he's played by the lovely Derek Ware.
Yeah. With his bicycle.
With his child's bicycle that's too small for him. And we should say as well, because obviously people that have been watching Doctor Who for years will know this, but some of the newcomers that are just finding their way into the wonderful world of Doctor Who might know that all the scenes at the spaceship in the first episode, the reason there's a line about changing weather conditions,
freak weather conditions, yes,
is because they went there to film and it snowed.
Yeah.
And then it rained, and then it snowed again, and then it was foggy, and it was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We need to explain it. So they give Corporal Bell a line.
But yeah, you can explain anything with a line if you're clever. That's the thing.
And apparently there are scenes where Katie Manning is just entirely purple from her skirt down to her boots because it was so cold, and she's got a very short skirt on.
Yeah. But Bernard Holly,
yes, who's in Tomb of the Cybermen.
Yeah, and. Looking very golden.
He is very golden.
With his like ping pong ball eyes or whatever he's got.
Smooth parts.
I'm very fond of Axos. Some people do find it a bit silly. And yes, there's some loony science in it. Yes. It has to be said. And yeah, it's that thing about Bob Baker and Dave Martin never quite know what a nuclear reactor is like.
No.
Because it's like it's a giant boiler or something. And yes, in some ways, yes, it's everybody. The whole thing explodes, and then everybody just goes back to it and has a sandwich.
Yeah. But instead of it being completely like irradiated for years.
But I love it. There's just so much going on in that story. It's very very fast,
and it's another very colourful story. It's very 70s and very psychedelic, especially some of the Axon spaceship effects.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? Barry Letts and Terrence Dicks said, reading a Bob and Dave script. If you can feel your sort of mind expanding as they just chuck in loads and loads of strange ideas.
Yeah, where Barry Letts is going, how the hell are we going to do this?
But I think the production does come off. It is. Again, it's like nothing attempted on TV that year. No. Anywhere else, because you are really using video technology, in totally unknown ways. Because there's the story, is it about the video disc that I think Michael Ferguson said you could do slow-mo effects with the video disc, but he'd often kick it to make it so it was a bit out of alignment. Oh, so that he'd get the effect he wanted, and then have to hand it back to the sports department because that's where it was on loan from. So they used it to do like sort of replays for sort of sport and things like that. And they go, well, it's gone wrong. What's wrong with it? Oh, I don't know. It's not like I kicked it or anything.
It was fine when I used it.
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah. But yeah,
and you've also got a great cast of characters in Claws of Axos. Because apart from obviously the aforementioned Pigbin Josh, you've got
Donald Hewlett.
Donald Hewlett as the director of the nuclear power station. You've got Winlet.
Yeah.
You've got Peter Barthow's character, who I've temporarily forgotten his name, the civil servant, Mr. Chin.
Mr. Chin.
You've got Bill Filer.
Yeah.
Paul Grist's not absolutely brilliant American accent there.
I do love that file that Chin flaps about at the start, which says "Top Secret" in like a really childish font.
Yes.
It's very funny. It's like something out of the Goodies.
Yes. Yes. And also, you've got lots of great stuff in there.
But for three stories in a row, they're all very different. Although, yes, they're all unit and they've got the master. They're told in very different styles.
They are. They really are. And yeah.
And it is as though every director's allowed to do it the way they want to do it.
There's no sort of house style, is there?
So, and it's that thing that yes, you can spot themes with writers, but at this point in Doctor Who, you start to spot themes with directors. Like Michael Ferguson always shoots a monster
into the sun
with the sun behind them.
The sun, with the sun.
So that's in the Seeds of Death. That's in Ambassadors of Death, and it's also in Claws of Axos. Yes. You always get a shot of the monster looming out of the sun.
Because it makes it look more frightening.
Yeah. And I love the fact you can spot things like that. Anyway, well, I was going to say we'll say good night, but I think I'm going to upload this in the morning, because it's late now.
Hello.
So
good morning.
We'll get on with watching a bit of the Demons now, I think. So,
Bye-bye. Bye.